Okay, cool.
What was that?
Tommy.
No, it definitely wasn't.
That was Tommy.
That came from the
Wasn't
depths
me.
of your bowels.
That wasn't me.
Yes, it definitely was.
Might have been that.
No, it wasn't.
Alistair may die during
It was
this
actually
podcast.
me.
I don't know if you're chatting shit as well.
I don't know
It
who
was
to
you, wasn't
believe.
it?
I
Yeah,
don't
it was,
know
I
where
knew
I
it was.
am. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another podcast. We are here in Azerbaijan. I'm Matt.
I'm Jess.
I'm an ill alley.
I'm Tommy.
Ali is really ill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if Ali's going to make this through this podcast.
I might run out halfway through.
What's the percentage?
Of me running out?
Yeah.
65.
Oh, that's quite high.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe
this will
not,
be
I
fun.
don't know.
This will be really fun.
It just all of a sudden just goes, you gotta go.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
gotta
Anyway,
go.
back to Baku, Azerbaijan. We are here. Look at that view. Everything is being deconstructed as we speak. So let's talk about the race. 3-word race reviews. I'm going to start. Haven't thought of it at all, so I'm not going to start. Tommy, can you give us your 3-word
I have not
race
thought of mine
review?
either.
I thought of mine.
All right, Jess,
Okay,
you
go on,
go.
Jess, you go.
What the?
1.
No, that's 4.
That's 4, Ali. You
Come on,
cheated.
Ali.
All right.
Get in the bin. Right. Really?
Yeah, I don't even. We were saying I don't even know how to start talking about the race because I feel physically exhausted.
But is it a what the fuck in a good way or in a bad way?
Oh no, in a good way.
Okay, cool.
Like
Yeah.
it was. Like,
I think that sums it up really well.
That's my...
maybe that's my 3 sound review. Just where do you even begin? I think
don't know.
someone was saying that it might be easier to list out the things that didn't happen in the race over the things that did.
Yeah. Well, we were just watching the highlights and they didn't even have Hulkenberg crashing
Nope.
in the highlights, which would
Yeah.
be a massive thing in any
Yeah.
other race. But there's just too much to talk about. So this podcast is going to be 4 hours.
Yeah.
It may well
Strap
be.
in. Strap
Okay,
in.
mine's going to be, oh my God.
So going on
Similar
from mine.
expression. I basically copied you.
Yeah, I
but
know.
less aggressive.
Not the
you
first
know?
time with that,
Just
is it?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But yeah, I mean, it was just. I was just sat there. Although there was a lull in the middle of the race. It was just like it just exploded. I don't know how Baku does it because it's so different to 2016 where I was like, this track is awful.
What
we
happened?
can't overtake.
What happened that year?
I don't know. I literally can't remember what happened. And
Just that race. Like, you've had 6 amazing F2 races here, 2 really good Grand Prix, and then just 1 really bad one. They
Yeah.
were pretty unlucky, but yeah.
Ali actually watched the race for the first time in God knows how long. So, Ali, what was your 3-word race review?
Holy crap, man. That was crazy.
I thought you were going to go for oh my wow.
Oh my wow. Yeah. My catchphrase. No, it was incredible.
I love how you dropped in my catchphrase. Just so
catchphrase.
anyone's,
My
just
catchphrase.
everyone's aware.
Mine.
No, yeah, it was nice to see that race because normally I'm driving up to London to film Internet's Best Reactions by the time the race is on. And I do love motorsport, but it was incredible to watch that race and what a race it was as well. I mean, it's the same as Jack, our assistant producer, who doesn't watch Formula One at all, and he watched his first race is this race.
I mean,
Yeah.
what a race to come in on.
Every other race he's going to watch now is going
Yeah.
to be utter rubbish, probably.
He literally came
I
up to me
was-
today and was like, I actually really like Formula One now. And I was like, well, join the club.
I hope he's not going to have the expectation that every race is like
yeah,
Baku though,
exactly.
because I don't think every race, any race, is like Baku.
It should be, though.
It should.
Just have
Well,
every
yeah.
race here.
Well, that's the
It
thing.
should be.
If it was like that every single time, we wouldn't appreciate it as
Yeah,
much. That's
true.
when the boring races as much as we don't want them.
I'm pretty sure you said that in Bahrain, or Jess did, that every race should be at Bahrain.
Yeah, I did because I thought Bahrain was crazy. I was
And
wrong.
Baku's like, hold my beer.
Baku's like, hold my beer. Yeah, it was, but that's 3 races on the trot now that have been super
Awesome.
exciting.
God, I hope the season's like this for the rest of the season.
I mean,
How many seasons? You got to hope this season is
Seasons.
seasons.
The 4
It
seasons.
You like?
Yeah.
all season.
I mean, the first race being boring and then having 3 really good ones, everyone immediately has shut up about overtaking the halo. Like, no one's talking about that anymore. Like, oh, he can't overtake. Oh, there's a halo. Oh, the engine sounds aren't as good. No one talks about that when the racing's good.
No.
Do
No.
Everyone thought it was really good as well. Our 3-word race reviews from our fans, Loris.rule and Mini... God, these are all terrible to pronounce. Marwan99, Yannick Bigler, all of them were coming in with well done, Baku. I mean, it was always...
That is all I could think of.
It was
for
always
mine.
going to be, it wasn't it?
Well done, Baku.
It was. Shall we dive into our first discussion point? Because there are
We should probably plug
many.
our Well Done Baku t-shirt.
Which is now available in the WTF1 store.
I was not involved in this horrific plugging. So, yeah, as Tommy, you said, what happened in 2016? Can you actually remember? If you're wondering what these noises are, they are deconstructing Baku around us as we're recording.
They might just leave this room. We're going to walk out the door,
door.
and everything's going to be
just
gone.
drop down. What were we saying?
What
About
happened in
2016. What even, I can't remember what
no,
happened.
not really anything. It
Didn't
just
Mercedes
clashed
just
Le
run
Mans.
away with it?
Rosberg won it by
Yeah.
a mile.
Yeah,
But, yeah.
Lewis had a horrible race. People just did not get on with the track, but it didn't.
It didn't deliver a
didn't
good
deliver.
race, but now it just maybe it's these cars being wider, so many
That's a good
crashes,
point.
and the straight is so long. Like we were saying it, you are a second behind because there's so many races like Monza and stuff where they should technically be slipstreaming each other, but they just don't.
Yeah.
Whereas this track, like the Ricciardo Verstappen battle, he could be a second behind, and he still is just closing in, and seemingly every lap there was someone going side by side down the main
Which
straight.
is
That
incredible.
shot down the straight when you were in the following car, watching
Yeah, it's so
the car in
exciting.
front getting chased and then getting closer and closer and closer.
Yeah, awesome.
And then knowing that they can go 3 wide into turn 1 is like,
I think
this is
Sorry, go on.
amazing.
I love the shot from the end of the straight at turn 1, where all of a sudden you'll just see a car in front and then 2 cars appear out from the side of it.
Yeah.
Like they're going to
So
just
good.
pincer him and attack. But I love that.
what I love about this straight in particular is that the move is, as you say, you could be a second behind and you can get an overtaking opportunity. But also, if someone clears them so quickly, the person, even without DRS, can get back into the slipstream and
Yeah.
with the
Go
heavy
again.
winds, have an overtaking opportunity into turn 1, which is just awesome.
cool.
I think it's the best straight in Formula 1.
Yeah, I
Hands
don't think
down.
straights are very exciting, like really. But this one, the second they get on the straight, I'm like, give us the onboard of the guy behind right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's so exciting watching them close in.
And most times they did, so I was like, yes,
yeah,
thank you.
it's so good.
It's like
Speaking-
with Raikkonen and Stroll, that's an onboard that I would like sticks in my mind.
That was almost too easy for me. That was not like
I don't know how, like, Williams just seemed to have no engine and they
Yeah.
were just being pushed along by, like, Stroll just
Like the
moving his
Flintstones.
foot.
having a stroll. Hey?
Having a Stroll.
Okay, I'm
No.
off. See ya. Right, but anyway, let's move on to like the start of the race. Absolute chaos. I mean, we were mentioning we don't really remember what happened in the race, but we had a safety car on lap 1. I think
Yes.
it's probably worth mentioning maybe the Kimi Ocon because that was quite a notable incident.
Yeah.
And for me, I mean, because Ocon came out and said, "I've got it here." What do we want to tell Kimi? He doesn't talk. He's not in the position he should be with a Ferrari. He made a mistake yesterday. He made another one today.
That's pretty savage.
It's savage considering,
Yeah.
in my opinion, Kimi had absolute right to be where he was. I think Kimi was a bit stupid to try it into such a narrow corner where there's not much space for a side-by-side. But at the same time, Esteban has to take that into account that Kimi's there. So I
Yeah.
think that Esteban's maybe trying to save face a little
Yeah.
bit.
And he can't say that he couldn't see him.
I think
You
this-
can see
yeah.
a red car in your peripherals or in your mirror. Like you know he was going to be there, so he should have given him space.
There's just so many racing incidents on the first lap. Like Alonso got caned. Sorokin
that
and
was
Hulk
ridiculous.
hit each
Can we-
other.
yeah.
It was just constant. Like they just
Carnage.
can't get the cars because they go. There's 7 wide straight,
Yeah.
and then they
Yeah.
just filter into this tiny little
too wide.
two wide 90-degree turns, and there just always is a crash. I mean, Bottas and Raikkonen did the same last year. It just seems like that happens. Deal with it on this track. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And the Alonso incident in particular, like, what was Hulkenberg doing there? It was he
Well,
just
Sorokin-
swiped
Sorokin
across,
got a
and then
penalty for that.
Sorokin
Yeah.
got
Is
Sorokin
penalised.
for that?
He literally got. He's nowhere he
sandwiched.
could have gone.
No.
I mean, he wasn't going to expect Nico to come across. Like, fair enough, he's put himself into quite a hazardous position where he was. But why would he think with Nico having absolutely nothing going on his right Why would he swipe across? So it absolutely baffled me, to be
It also
honest.
seems just before the impact on the onboard of Sorokin, it looks like he does let off because he knows that he's going to get sandwiched. He's like, well, I'm backing out of this and I'll sort it out later. But by that point, it was way too late. And so
Sorokin hit Alonso, right? Is that?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and that
But it was
caused
because Hulkenberg's rear
Yeah.
left hit the front right of Sorokin
he was just getting
and pushed him
squeezed.
into, yeah.
And then
How
Alonso.
good was Alonso to get
Oh.
back to
Oh
the
my God.
pits?
Did you see him come into the pits? He almost binned
Yeah.
into the wall.
Yeah.
He was going
Yeah,
along
yeah,
the side,
yeah.
wasn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know how he even
So,
managed to get back.
He said, so after the race, I know he says this a lot and he's very good at talking himself up, but he said it was the best race of his career, arguably. And
He says that a lot.
he says that a lot, yeah. But I think he loves to like self-compliment himself, but he said that I
mean-
don't think any other driver would have got back to the pits.
I don't
with
remember-
a car in that state.
I think
He
a
was
lot
literally-
would have just given up, I think.
Well,
That's what I mean. Like most would just park the car and be like, "This is it."
Surely Sorokin could have got back.
well, people
Yeah.
even when they just have one
Yeah.
wheel,
Very true.
Yeah.
he had two wheels on the same side and still got back to the pits.
Or
Yeah.
I mean, why didn't Bottas? I
There
guess
was
it
no
was,
point
there was
for
no
It was
point.
a last
Yeah.
lap,
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly. Yeah, just park the car. But no, I don't recall. When was the last time anyone
I haven't
finished a
seen
race
that
after a
for-
double
No,
I've
puncture?
never seen that.
Because
Yeah.
usually there's a lot of damage to the floor, suspension,
Well, that's what
that
they
sort of
said.
stuff,
They were
so-
like, no way
Yeah.
he can continue with that much floor damage. And McLaren was saying,
Over team radio.
there is floor damage, but
That's-
they finished both McLarens in the points.
Well, that's just classic Baku thing that happened in the last race where Bottas and Ricciardo were like dead last and finished 1-2, and then in this race, Perez crashed at the start, Raikkonen crashed at the start. They both ended
Perez
up on
crashed?
the podium. He got
yeah, he got his
him
front
and
wing.
Ocon have had
Yeah.
a little.
His
Oh,
front
yeah, he
wing.
got
Yeah.
punted or something, didn't he? He
Yeah.
got punted from behind and he went into the back of someone.
yeah.
I can't
just-
remember all of these.
Yeah,
It
there was
is-
so many things going
It was
on.
just chaos. The whole
Yeah.
race was just
And
amazing.
Crofty missed most of it, so that's also doesn't help.
Dig.
At Rob_Rush13 sent us a message saying, how did Alonso not get driver of the day after lap 1? And I think he would have had it not been for Charles Leclerc, who I
Yeah.
think
Oh my
needs
God,
a little
yeah.
bit of a shout out.
Yeah.
What a drive.
Yeah.
It was good.
It
but
was
that's-
alright.
I feel like he was lucky enough to get himself into that position after all the carnage.
His pace was amazing.
Yeah, pace was amazing, but he stayed in the same position, roughly.
No.
What? Wait, what are you saying?
Charles, hello, Tommy, you still
So
with us?
I was
Yeah.
put off by the air conditioning unit that's going on, and I was thinking like.
Really, at the podcast, is that boring that you're checking out an air conditioning
I was
unit?
thinking about audio levels.
Alistair's just ripping into Charles Leclerc saying it was an
you
okay
kidding
drive.
me?
Into him. I'm just saying I don't think
Gal-
he deserved driver of the day.
What? He's in a Sauber.
I have to agree with Ali.
Oh my god, what? He's a rookie in a Sauber, and he was fighting the bloody
First
Red Bulls.
time round Baku.
He was fighting the Red Bulls
He
on the
did
most
no.
difficult track.
I'm not saying he didn't do a good job.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't
Who
call
was
him
better
my
than-
driver of
Who
the
was
day.
You're
better
saying
than-
Alonso?
I would say Alonso or Sainz. I think
Sainz.
Sainz put in a
I was gonna
stellar
say Sainz.
race.
Not for the performance
not for
that
the
he
car
has
that he had.
in that car. Like, fair, he did drive well. Don't get me wrong, but Charles is in the worst car potentially.
Charles.
If you look
Charles.
at
That's
Charles.
name
who
terms, are we?
did what compared to
Charles.
their teammates, the difference between like Ericsson and Leclerc, like
True, but then again, I go back to the point of after all the carnage, he was able to get his car into a good position.
It's like that gif that everybody uses of that thing running down the minefield and everything
Yeah,
blowing
that's a
up.
very popular
gif.
It was a little bit like
that's just become
that.
the Baku gif.
yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but I mean,
actually.
you say that, but Charles, Leclerc, because I met him once, or maybe twice.
Meet Charles
I actually
once.
just like saying
So
Charles.
Charles.
It's not Charles, it's Charles. I just pretend that
Leclerc.
I can do my French, but basically, yeah, I mean, yeah, he avoided the carnage, fair enough. But then there was a lull. Like, he had the pace. He was 3 seconds ahead of the car behind for most of the... I was monitoring quite a lot, because I was like, how is he in that position? And he drove consistently. He drove very quickly, and obviously we compare to his teammate, who maybe is not deemed as the best driver in the world, but he was still last, pretty much, wasn't he? So,
Yeah.
for me, Leclerc definitely deserved driver of the day. Alonso, Rob Rush believes, should have got driver of the day.
Yeah.
There was a lot of standout performances, which we can agree on.
yeah. Maybe
and-
that's the problem. There's too many
Too many
to
good stuff.
mention.
Yeah, I think if Hulkenberg hadn't have crashed out, he could have possibly got driver of the day as well.
No.
Oh, come on.
Oh, he was behind Sainz.
If
The
you don't know what would have
entire
happened
race.
for the rest of the race, I'm not saying that.
I would have. I'd have known he wouldn't have got a podium, and he would bottle it every time he's a good chance to do it.
The more and more, the longer he goes without getting a podium or anywhere near a podium, I think
You've got to think that someone like Sergio Perez, how many podiums has he scored now? Like 5 or 6?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with a Force India, Sauber, he's always, and a crazy race always equals Sergio Perez podium for some reason.
Yeah.
That's really weird.
And his second in Baku.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
He's
so
now
weird.
the most successful driver around in terms of like consistent podiums.
Yeah, around Baku.
That's,
I think that's true, right?
Well, yeah, looking at me like I know the Sergio Perez facts.
You know all the Charles.
Yes, well, Charles did really well.
Probably. He's probably the only one that's got 2 podiums, yeah.
Yeah.
So Perez is awesome.
Yeah.
What also was awesome, what we have to talk about, and I've really wanted to talk about this until this moment, the Red Bull battle.
Oh my gosh.
Chiller Killer 22, who do you think should be blamed for the Red Bull crash? Now, this was tricky, so I believe that we may have differences in opinions here,
Yeah.
because I originally thought it was Verstappen, then I watched it back and was like, maybe it was Danny, and now I think it's Max again.
Yeah, I was exactly the same. I think Red Bull did the right thing to sort of blame both a bit, but I would say like 70% Verstappen.
I'd say 80% Verstappen. Like
Yeah.
he shouldn't. I think. Like he made a double move, so straight up, that's not allowed, and for reasons such as that. But also, was that really a move for Ricciardo to make?
Yeah, I think
think
that's
it was
why
too
it was
tight.
still a little bit of his
I think
fault.
he was banking on the fact that Max would completely fall for the dummy,
Yeah,
and he didn't.
And he didn't because he's
And
not.
it's not like it was something, they're racing drivers. They would
Yeah.
have gone up a bit against thousands of dummies.
Yeah.
And this is Max Verstappen, the person that would probably try the dummy
Yeah.
out of anyone.
Or-
Well, he
or
almost
who
put
knows-
Ricciardo into the wall
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
few laps earlier
It was
when they
very
were battling.
Turn
They
one.
would questionable.
Again.
I think it was stupid for Danny to put trust in a teammate such as Max, who has had such a hard time these last few races in terms of the media. Like, he
So-
wanted to prove something yesterday.
I think the worst thing
it was
though
ridiculous.
is that, you say he wanted to prove himself, but in my opinion, he needed a clean race. That's
all he
way
needed,
more
yeah.
important. And the thing that gets me with him is he's unbelievably quick and arguably quicker than Ricciardo on his day, maybe over a whole season if they were literally just doing qualifying or whatever. But he needed a race where you can't always beat your teammates. So he just needed to think, look, I need to get a result here. He had a really good fight with Ricciardo. It was actually really good to watch. And
That
when
was
they were
awesome.
keeping it clean, it was absolutely amazing. His move on the inside,
Yeah.
That was-
was
Oh my
unbelievable.
goodness me.
It was respectful racing, but
Yeah.
you could tell it was getting
We
like
knew
closer
it
and
was gonna
closer
happen.
and
It was
closer
getting
and
He knew it was going to
closer.
happen, but he just needed to say, all right, Ricciardo's quicker than me, get a result in the bag, get my confidence
on.
back, and then the speed will come.
Yeah.
And do you know what I mean? It's just
'Cause
so frustrating.
Where is Max in the standings now? I haven't actually looked.
He's quite far. I think he's
Quite
got like
far.
18 points or something.
Yeah,
he
which
hasn't
for
got much.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
for
The
a
top
Red
3
Bull,
team.
it's just not on.
Well, it's just the fact that it's now the third race, arguably fourth, because he had a little incident in Melbourne, but he just needs to get points on the board,
Yeah.
really.
So-
Yeah.
Just needs to chill out a bit.
What do you think, Ali? Tommy, you said what percentage? 70?
I said 70.
Jess said 80.
It sounds like
Max.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
65% Max.
Wow, 65. Very,
Yeah.
very
Specific.
precise.
63%.
I'd say it's probably about 80, 75 maybe. Like, Max was
Yeah.
stupid.
I think it's hard to know because when we were watching it together, we said oh, why did Daniel do that? Because essentially, what you watch is him ploughing into the back of someone,
Yeah.
but it's actually the drivers, like the pundits, like Paul di Resta.
Yeah.
All the pundits said you do not understand how much downforce you lose when someone does that to you.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
We can never understand what the car feels like when
You don't,
someone
you don't
does
have
that
the
to
same
you.
stopping
Yeah,
distance,
exactly.
so you slam your brakes on, they're not going to work as well as Max's would have worked because he wasn't in dirty air.
Yeah, because that was the lockup, the front right, which was the one that was in the dirty air. And yeah, and a spectator. That's why originally I was like, oh my god, what, And then Danny Rick locked up. It's his fault.
Yeah.
But that was because Max moved.
Yeah.
So It's an interesting topic, and it literally can be something that we could debate for a long, long time. Something I think that actually has much less debate to it is a footage that actually came out today, Tommy, maybe yesterday. I don't know when it was.
Yeah, F1 put it up not very long ago. Actually, we were just watching it only a few minutes ago.
Magnussen and Gasly.
Oh my god!
For anyone that hasn't seen it, I'd recommend you go and watch this before you listen to this part. But what the hell was Kevin doing?
If anyone thinks Max is a dangerous driver, this is like.
So
Next
what happened?
level.
What happened?
So they were going down the main straight. Gasly gets the toe on Magnussen.
Yeah.
Gasly's going up the inside, and there's a car width on the inside.
More than a car
More
width.
than a car width.
Yeah.
And Magnussen literally, like you were saying, like video game move. You know when you're like playing with a mate and you just go, "Huh, that's funny," just like.
He's
hit him in the ball.
halfway
He literally
alongside.
did that, and I do not know if those wheels had touched. Like
That
one
would
of
have
them
been
is like
catastrophic.
over the barrier because they're doing 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Crashed into him again, and then Gasly gets out of it, and then obviously because the straight is so huge, gets into a slipstream again, goes for the move again, and Magnussen moves again and almost pushes him into the pit wall.
And
It is
apparently it's something that happens
absolutely
every single
unbelievable.
race as well. That's what the drivers say. They're always constantly
Well,
complaining.
the suck my balls thing was Hulkenberg going once again most unsporting
Yeah.
driver,
Yeah.
and Gasly said something like,
He's
the
the
most
most
dangerous
dangerous.
I've ever raced against.
He did something similar in Monza last year, didn't he? Was that between him and Alonso?
Wow, you're testing our knowledge here.
Wow,
Ali.
Ali.
Are you talking about the karma comment? Because that was Palmer.
No, there was another one where
He has had a few run-ins with
I think it
people,
was
yeah.
either it was one of the Hasses pushed someone, turned into someone on the second chicane.
There's a lot of beeping going on behind us as well.
There is a lot of people going on, yeah. But based off of the Haas driver,
Oh, good. Oh,
great segue. We have a hat to give away,
Yeah, they're very
a signed cap.
well, we've just been
Assigned.
rinsing their driver.
So the
we are
people-
very thankful for.
Yeah, so for the people that have made it this far into the podcast, this is your reward, which is a signed Haas hat. So all you have to do is like the video, comment your percentage of which you think one driver was at fault over the other.
That's a
For
really.
Daniel Ricciardo. Yeah, I know, right?
Who was at fault, Max or Daniel?
I want percentages.
Yeah, percentage.
Percentage ratios.
Yeah, percentage ratios. That was much easier to
There you
say it that
go.
way. And then you could win a Haas hat, and you also have to be subscribed. Okay? Simple. Words. There you go, Ali.
Thank you.
There's the hat back. So do that, and you could be with a chance of winning a Haas hat. Awesome stuff. Let's move on to something that involves a Haas. Romain Grosjean.
Oh my God.
Romain Grosjean.
You mean when Ericsson hit him, right?
Yeah, what a dick. Ericsson was.
No, okay,
what
can we
a-
clarify? That was his engineer that said that. That wasn't
Yeah, okay, fair
Grosjean
enough.
that said
Okay,
that.
all right, fair
So,
enough.
otherwise, fair enough.
Well, I
like-
guess because his engineer couldn't believe that
Yeah.
he crashed without anybody hitting him, but he did.
It didn't. Didn't look like he even spun up the rear wheels.
He was very aggressively
yeah.
like,
Warming up the tyres,
warming up
yeah.
he
the
literally
tyres.
just slid. Like, it was so weird.
But that is so bad because he's not got a
Any
point.
points? He's not got any
He's
points.
the only driver other than Sorokin
Really?
that's not got a point this
No
season.
way, I didn't know
And
that.
Their start
Yeah.
to the season, you'd think, he's going to be banging in podiums and
Yeah.
at least like 5th and 6th place.
I
And
would have
he's not
thought.
got a point yet.
I would have thought if he had turned to the left and tried to put power down, it would have helped him correct it. But he seems to just let go and let Jesus take the wheel and smash into the wall.
Jesus did not help him at
No,
all.
he didn't.
Yeah.
It was weird because he did. It wasn't, as you say, it didn't look like a normal crash. It just went that way. It was like, what happened? It was
Yeah.
so
It was
strange. I do
literally
feel
like,
for him as
"Nah,
well.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Especially because he'd had such terrible luck in qualifying. Started from way down, and then he'd made it up to 7th at that
Sixth,
point.
I think he
Sixth.
was, yeah.
I mean, how much more could he have done?
Yeah.
And then
The
to
crashes behind
literally
the
throw it all
safety
away. If we've been saying there's been like a heartbreak every single
Yeah.
Grand Prix, that one's the one from
That's
this,
just
this Grand
Baku.
Prix.
Like that could only happen at Baku, just bidding it.
No
until
one
behind
is
the safety
safe,
car.
even when the safety car's out.
Yeah. That
Poor
was
old
mad.
Rogro. And then there was that video that surfaced on the internet of him throwing his glove and almost wiping out his mechanic who just stood there like, sorry, mate.
The mechanic took it really well, though.
Yeah.
He
I mean,
just
he's not
kind of
gonna-
went.
Mate, what
He
are
just
you
went.
doing?
Yeah, he literally just moved out of the way,
the
dodged
Matrix.
it, and then kind of carried on his merry way. I think I'd
Yeah.
jumped out my
There was
skin.
the other one that then gave him a hug.
Yeah, he's quite emotional. I mean, he's been crying all weekend.
Was he?
Yeah, he was crying after
he cried in
Do you not see
qualifying.
that
Yeah, he
he
cried
got
in
out the
qualifying.
car? He got out the car, crouched down, and just cried. Took his
He was-
helmet off
he
and
was sat
cried.
down.
Oh.
He was
He
sat down.
sat.
Yeah, sat down.
I think it-
Equally heartbreaking picture is of Bottas.
Yeah, Bottas is the.
I haven't seen the picture.
Oh,
He's
he's
just slumped
just.
against the
sat
wall.
down. Yeah.
Yeah, he cried. Apparently he cried as well.
Actually, I take it back. I think that was more heartbreaking.
Yeah,
That was way more
because he didn't crash
heartbreaking.
behind a safety car. He drove over
Yeah, well,
Magnussen being an
to
idiot.
have the race won, and then for something that's not your fault.
And I think he drove really well because
Yes.
although he wasn't challenging Hamilton, I don't think that was his strategy. I think it was to go as long as he possibly could. He's behind Hamilton and he's got absolutely nothing going on behind him. So he was just managing his tyres, being able to go like 40 odd laps and then come into the pits because of the safety car. Like he played it perfectly. He was the, if something happens, I'll be there.
exactly
Yeah.
like Vettel did in Melbourne.
Yeah.
He was there to jump.
Exactly. And he did deserve it.
Again, like he's like the consistent driver.
Yeah.
He's never gonna. Or maybe he will one day, but I still stand
Here
by
comes
like
the Bottas
he's not.
roasting.
He's not. No, but again, like he would have won a race, and I would have said bravo, like well done,
He'd been
well
leading the
managed,
championship,
good
though.
strategy.
He'd been leading the
Yeah,
championship.
I know, which is
that
crazy.
blows
That
my
is
mind.
That's crazy.
insane.
But that again, like
Lewis Hamilton, number 2 driver.
we've. But it was good, and it would have been a good race for him. And you know, he said I think in
That was
a
his best drive, I think, or something. didn't
yeah,
he?
and you know he got second here last year.
Yeah.
It would have been like a step up and be really good, but I still stand by like he's
Yeah,
not
but he's not
a
there. He's
magic
not there
driver.
to win the championship, though, is he? So
No,
it
he's
doesn't
not,
really
he's
matter.
not.
But he
he
could
would be
well have
leading
put
it.
himself in
Yeah.
the
If
fight.
he carries on and everybody else blows themselves up like they keep seeming to do,
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
Mercedes,
he could
yeah.
he could win.
He
He
genuinely-
actually could win.
I think he has stepped up his game this year. I genuinely think he's beaten Hamilton in how
Yeah,
many
if Hamilton's
races?
that good and
Yeah,
Bottas
Hamilton is
can
supposed-
beat him on his day, then you
Yeah.
can't say he's a bad driver.
Yeah, and I mean Valtteri is he's only in his second year at Mercedes as well. Like there is still a lot of learning. You know, he's in the second fastest car on the grid. It has to be said.
Also, the way he got to Mercedes was like, you're in Mercedes now.
yeah,
Go.
Yeah.
Go,
Here's the
win
fastest car.
races.
Go. Yeah.
I am because I was on board in Australia. And I was like, yeah, you know, Bottas is rubbish, but he has impressed me in these first few races. Like in China, he drove faultlessly. He drove amazingly. He was beating Vettel through his own sort of strategy and race. So I think Bottas, if he continues this way, will cause some issues for Lewis as well. I think Lewis isn't on his game either at the
No.
moment.
No. The
He
Mercedes
seems very
is
emotional.
like pretty. What is with Mercedes this year? They don't seem to be on it. And when we were watching the race, they mentioned that the tyre temperatures are so bad for Mercedes that when Hamilton did his outlap compared to Vettel, it was 1.5 seconds slower out the pits.
So
He almost got jumped. Like Verstappen caught him up again.
Yeah.
Because they were that slow. That's crazy.
that was actually an interesting element to the race because obviously there was that point in the race where it was just a bit boring and everyone was like, oh, okay, maybe this race isn't going to be that great. But it was only boring because there wasn't anything going on track. But the
Yeah.
strategies
Oh my
were,
God,
were,
what
were
was going
so
on?
intriguing. You
Yeah.
had Sainz coming in really early because he started on the ultras. You had guys pushing it like Bottas all the way to lap 40 odd. And I genuinely found it a really intriguing race, even though because you had the amazing midfield battles and people were
Yeah.
complaining it was boring. I was like,
Yeah.
what
What
am
race
I
are you
watching?
watching?
Yeah, when was the last time as well the guy that pits second ever got ahead?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that
that's
was-
not been for years with
overcut,
Pirelli.
yeah.
It was one of those things where you were trying to compute
How is
was
this
that
happening?
happened.
Yeah.
But it did, and it
The
added
strategy,
another level to the race.
It
The
really
strategy
did.
this year is just so good. I think that's what's made the racing so brilliant is that it's not just a one-stop race, and everyone has to pit at the same time because the tyres
Yeah.
shred or whatever.
Yeah.
The last 3 races have been so good
They've
for
been-
that
Yeah.
strategy.
Pirelli have nailed it. I think I said it before in the podcast. They have nailed the tyres this year so
Yeah.
far. We thought, there's going to be 7 tyres. What? Super duper mega ultra hard. All that stuff. You know, we thought maybe they're introducing too much. But I think by splitting up the tyres even more, they're able to hone in a lot better and potentially make 1-2 stop races. And just going to say, you know, I love a race for the lead. You know, that's more than anything I want. But this race probably grabbed me for more than any for years of the midfield battles. Like usually I don't mind. I'm like, midfield battles. But they were so good. and like having Sainz Renault challenging Red Bull.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was amazing.
Those fights were
Yeah.
awesome.
That
They were so
was
good throughout the
amazing.
whole race.
It was like for the first 30 laps, the three front runners, Vettel, Hamilton, and Bottas,
yeah, they
weren't
checked
even
out.
on camera at all.
Vettel
They weren't on camera
could
at all.
have won the first 4 races
He should
quite
have,
easily.
should have
It's
as well.
amazing how is
Well,
Hamilton.
apart from Australia, he
yeah,
shouldn't
He got
technically
a bit
won
lucky,
that.
but the fact that Ferrari seem to be the dominant team now, like Vettel could have easily racked up 100 points and be off, and Hamilton's actually leading the title again, which is
That is.
But it's amazing.
How?
It's
Yeah.
great. It's like we're finally in the end of the Mercedes dominance.
But I just hope
era.
I hope it continues, because last year Ferrari, like Mercedes, like Hamilton upped his game. I just hope that obviously I don't want to say Hamilton, I hope he does bad, but the fact that he's leading the championship when he's arguably like not on his A game, I just hope that doesn't mean that when he like
Switches
picks
on.
up, he's going to start to dominate. I hope it continues throughout
And
the whole
I
year.
hope
with
I
Vettel.
hope Vettel doesn't, because I don't know. Sorry, I can't even get my words out. But this was another race where incident has cost him not only one place but multiple places.
Yeah.
And he's ended up not on the podium at all.
And
Like
that
he
was-
should have been on the
Are
podium
you talking
at
about
least.
The
safety
lockup.
car or his lockup?
His lockup.
The lockup, yeah.
So the lockup just put him straight out of any podium position.
Because he could have won the race.
He could,
Yeah.
yeah.
If he'd just been a bit more relaxed. I mean, to be fair, that probably was his one and only opportunity.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
on
don't know.
that
Do
lap.
you reckon he might have
Well,
slipstreamed
he
in?
was under pressure from behind as well. So I think he saw an I mean, fair play to him. He saw an opportunity. He went for it. He tried to do a Daniel
Yeah.
Ricciardo,
Yeah.
but at
It was
that
a
point,
rubbish move.
Yeah.
It
We
wasn't
can't
a
like
good move.
argue for it after slating Bottas for not going for that
Exactly.
move and things.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
fair play to him for going it.
Yeah.
But he did just completely balls it up.
And looking
Yeah.
at the replays, he just misjudged his braking point.
He just
could
went
have,
for it.
He
He
could have
bolted.
braked 10, 15 metres earlier and still got in front, but he
Because
braked so late.
he only just missed it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he
yeah.
only just missed it, but at that point it's enough. It cost
But he had the inside line, so he didn't actually need to. He did a Danny Rick dive bomb when he didn't need to do a
He
Danny
didn't
Rick
need
dive
to,
bomb.
yeah.
He could have quite easily just.
I
yeah.
think just with his closing speed, because he'd been leading the race the whole time, he wouldn't have experienced 340 kilometres an hour until that moment. And then it's obviously caught him out. He's on the dirty side of the track as well, and he's gone straight on. And he finished
fourth.
fourth,
Fourth,
which is I think Ferrari are going to rue the fact they don't have 100 points right now for
Oh,
Vettel.
they
Yeah.
definitely
Like-
should have 100 points for Vettel.
And as you say, I think Mercedes will only get stronger. I don't
Yeah.
think Ferrari are going to pull away as
once
such.
once
Because
Mercedes
this
sort their
is-
tyre issues out.
This
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
this is Ferrari on their A game.
Yeah.
And Mercedes isn't on their A game. So
And
if,
Hamilton's leading this. This season is awesome. That genuinely
I hope,
has
Yeah.
like,
it needs to be like this all the way through, because the start of 2017 was a little bit similar, where I was like, if this carries on between Hamilton and Vettel, this could be one of the best seasons ever. And if this carries on, this is going to be right up there with like 2012.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
chaos,
say.
yeah.
2012, it has that feeling of that,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's not 7 different winners and 7 races, it's still got that unpredictability of Red Bull being there. I think that's the whole point, is that we've always wanted Red Bull to be there when they slip up, or at
Yeah.
least be fighting. And they were rubbish in terms of pace because of their battery issues, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Which
they weren't
allowed
charging
Renault
properly.
to come at them. But the fact that we don't know what's going to happen when we turn up at the next race as well, because
That's what F1 should be, shouldn't
Yeah.
it?
And
I
to
mean,
think
we used to
that-
do all like our predictions of who's going to be the top 3.
I genuinely don't know who to say
And,
anymore.
Yeah, it's
Well, yeah,
for
our
all the future
predictions
races,
from the
it's
last
like,
race for the second time we've just gone.
yeah, I
It's-
know,
they're all
it's
wrong.
completely
I think,
wrong.
Yeah. And even I think everybody kind of feels, and I think for Hamilton it's the same thing. We kind of feel a little bit like, I feel empty about the win. I don't feel, oh, that was great, because it was won on a.
Yeah, it was lucky as
It
hell.
was so
It
I
was
just
lucky,
I
yeah.
don't feel like, usually I'm just like, oh, whoever wins, it's like, oh, that was a good race.
Yeah.
But for this one, it you didn't have that at all.
It was
so it's
chaos.
kind of like a ugh.
I think the only reason for me that last year's race was better was because the winner was like so deserving.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like Ricciardo made it would have been nice if I don't know, like if Vettel had won the race and he'd have made that move and it was like, okay, fair play, Vettel almost lost the race and he went for a move and won it back. But you didn't have that,
Yeah, I'm just loving the season so far.
It's so good.
It's actually awesome. And I think for Spain, we might go back to maybe a little bit more of a boring race. Spain isn't great for overtaking.
No.
The straight hasn't really ever produced much because I think cars haven't been able to pass into turn one. It's not long enough of a DRS zone. I don't know what they're doing. Are they doing anything different for the DRS zone this year? Do you know?
If they have, it's not been released yet.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
But the Melbourne one wasn't released until like just before the race anyway.
They could
so.
do that. They could do that again.
So who do we reckon is going to be quick around Spain? Because obviously they've done testing, so they'll have probably a better idea.
Yeah, but don't forget it was freezing cold.
That's very true. It was snowing, wasn't it?
was snowing.
So they'll have absolutely no idea. That's basically.
Which makes it better.
Yeah.
But going back through the years, at least the recent years, who actually I cannot remember.
Well,
It's usually
Spain
obviously-
was a weird one until last year. It was a really strange one where you say it's always a boring race, but you had it was 11 years where it was a different winner. Even like Maldonado, Vettel, Hamilton, Webber, it just went right back to 11 different winners. And then even that year when you thought, well, the Mercedes are going to win, and then Verstappen won because they crashed into each other and stuff. So, yeah, it could be anyone, but I think Ferrari surely. If it's a dull race, you think Ferrari
will lock it out and potentially go for the win. I think one team that I just don't know why they turned up so good at Baku, but I don't know if they'll be consistent. That was Force India. They came out of nowhere this weekend. They've been off the
back on
pace,
it, weren't they?
Yeah.
and then they were the fourth fastest team.
Yeah. And then you've got Renault in the mix now from the looks of things. If they can continue that from...
What I think
Yeah.
what made the midfield so good, and I'm hoping this continues throughout the year, is it just becomes that thing where the midfield is Bahrain, suddenly Toro Rosso are the best team and Gasly's fighting for fourth.
Yeah.
Then the next one, or like this one, no one expected Sainz to be going past the Red Bulls, and you're like, wow,
And
what
Leclerc.
are Renault doing? And Leclerc,
Yeah.
and then Force India are back, and then sometimes they drop off, and I hope that continues throughout the whole year.
I don't think we've had a midfield battle as varied as this. It's usually
think
been Force
anyone,
India and then Renault potentially. Whereas,
And Williams.
oh God,
R.I.P. Williams.
Although Lance Stroll was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
He
did
I mean,
alright.
he was
in the
decent in
race, yeah.
qualifying, and he was up
Yeah.
there. Where did he finish in the end?
He managed to get at some point up into sixth, didn't
Yeah,
he?
at one point.
Or
But I think
fifth.
that was when the pits were happening.
He
Oh,
fell
right,
away a
okay.
bit at the end.
Yeah, he got points though, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he
I
did.
think so.
Yeah.
Which is good. I mean, he had a podium last year and some
Yeah.
points this year. Right, let's go. Give me predictions. Come on,
Okay,
Tommy. You got to predict.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go for. I reckon it might calm down a bit, so I'm going to go for Vettel, Raikkonen, Hamilton.
I sincerely hope you've just jinxed it, and it's going to be another.
Yeah, I
crazy
really
race.
don't. I really don't
It's
want
going
it
to be
that.
boring. No overtakes. Okay.
Maybe
cool.
if we just keep doing boring predictions, then we get crazy races.
Yeah, yeah. Ali, Weck. Sorry, F1.
Sorry, something work. Predictions for Spain. I reckon Vettel will get first. I think Raikkonen will get second. And a Mercedes.
No.
Probably
Name.
It's probably Hamilton, but I'm going to say Bottas.
Okay, so pretty much the same as Tommy.
Yeah.
Just copying him.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm not going to
I-
watch it anyway.
I always stay with whatever the founder says. That's how I keep my job.
Did everyone know that Tommy's the founder of
Oh,
WTF? Yeah,
shut
okay.
up,
Jeff.
I think Vettel should get it. I think potentially Hamilton will come second. And I think Raikkonen will come third just purely because he seems to magically find his way on the podium even if he has an absolute diabolical start.
I don't know. How, the last two races,
I don't understand.
How
Crazy.
is he been second?
I don't
mate?
understand.
Maybe-
I do not compute.
Please help me.
clearly-
Please help me.
Clearly there's some kind of voodoo magic going on and he's just going to end up...
Yeah, it's weird. Like,
Maybe he'll win. I don't know. That's the next step. That's the
I
next
was
step.
going to predict that, but it's weird that he has such like rubbish qualifying, or he has some really bad luck.
Yeah.
Or the team
Falls off.
screw him over.
Yeah.
The team screws him, and he still managed to
And
find
then he
himself
gets
on that
luck
pesky
at, like,
podium.
he has loads of bad luck, but then he'll get luck at some point.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know. I think Kimi Räikkönen will finally get a victory. I think so. I genuinely hope. I hope so. He has been
Your
really quick.
reflection scared me.
For anyone wondering, just over there, just to the
the
right, it's
podium.
podium.
What's the podium?
It's the
Right
podium
there.
right there.
Right there. Anyway,
Park-
back to my.
Park Ferme just down there.
Are you done? Yeah. I'm
Entry to the pit lane just there.
Are you giving a full tour?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
down there is the Lotus.
podcast
the
tour.
Lotus
This is the start
thing.
finish straight.
It's the Absheron grandstand.
Oh, you
Just there is.
Wow, he remembers.
Yeah, Hamilton's pit.
Oh, just Hamilton. No one else's pit.
And Bottas.
And you call me the Fang thing.
Gushing. Okay, so and my predictions also Raikkonen. I think Raikkonen will beat Vettel on pace, and then Hamilton will be third. I genuinely, as I was saying, Kimi has been really quick all season. I think he has shown more pace than he has for the last few years. I think he's finally got a grip of how to drive these cars, because not since, when I can't remember what year, but like when he was properly on his A game, we haven't seen that for years. I don't think.
Or is this his swan song? And he's like,
No.
before he bows out.
Do you think
I think
they'd
F1 will
let? Do you
genuinely
think
miss
they'd
him.
let Kimi? When do you think
Let
that
him
the
retire.
No.
You cannot
You said
lose.
that Kimi might win.
Yes.
Vettel second. When do you think they will start switching?
I don't think it
You
can't.
don't
I don't
think
think
they
they
do
will.
that early in the year?
I don't know. I don't
No,
think so.
I think they will. And I think, again, because Vettel has the long-term investment opportunity and Raikkonen is on his way out.
You think they will switch?
No,
Oh,
I
you
don't. Because Vettel is going to be there longer than Raikkonen is. So they will never put Vettel as number 2. In fact, I think, isn't it in his contract?
Sorry, I meant
No,
them,
he's
I
switching
meant
in the
them
race.
letting through.
Oh, in the race.
In the race,
Yeah,
like
so
if
will
Kimi's
they- will
leading,
there
do
be
you
two
reckon
models?
they'll just do a Barrichello and Schumacher and
No.
Kimi crawls across the line
They
and has
can't.
to let him through?
They can't.
Not this.
They wouldn't
not
do
this
that, not
early.
this early on.
The uproar, apart from Ferrari fans.
But it's Ferrari, so...
Yeah, they
I
don't
think
really
they
care,
tend
do
to
they?
they tend to do it subtly. Like, to be fair, like the recent ones, it was never as blatant as what they used to do with Schumacher and Barrichello. They've started making it so they sort of they left Kimi out the pits, didn't they, for ages in Bahrain? It was just like, go on, good luck, see you later, bye.
And
Podium.
Yeah.
And Kimi's reaction on the team radios when he realises that it's not gone his way, like, he's not settling for a number 2 driver as much as he probably knows that he's in that position in some respect. He doesn't want to be. He still wants the best strategy and he still wants to win, which, it shows that he's still got the fire within him. How old is he now?
37?
37.
Wow.
something like that.
37.
Yeah.
I'll be very sad when Kimi
I
leaves.
think him and Alonso are the 2 old boys on the track.
And yet Alonso's at least regarded as the best driver on the grid still. And
Yeah.
I don't personally think so, but I think Kimi it'll be a shame for him to leave. What was that?
Meow.
Oh right. I think he's a great driver. I just don't think he's the
Where did
best.
that cat come from?
I thought I was doing a tyre screech.
Oh, the Baku cat.
Baku cat, yeah. I think, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will, and I think that's come to a nice conclusion. This podcast.
Yeah.
I think I'm actually surprised at how quickly we got through all the incidents, but we did.
I think
We
it's
didn't
because
think
we
we were
still
gonna be
don't
able
know.
to.
I think we still don't know how to
We
process
missed
it.
everything.
I was expecting messages saying like, guys, you've been going for 2 hours any moment. But
But I think we've summed it up nicely. I think it's because we all watched the highlights. We kind of had an understanding as to all the incidents that happened.
We did an alley and watched the highlights.
Works perfectly.
When's the next wet race? It's next week, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it is.
Where
around
is it?
Spa. Around Spa.
Around
6
Spa.
hours to Spa.
Alonso's debut.
Alonso's debut. And
that
Guido
should be
van der
good.
Garde. And Jenson Button.
No, he's not. He's
No,
doing
he's
Le Mans.
not. He's
Oh,
only
he's
doing Le
doing Le
Mans.
Starting at Le Mans.
Yeah, my
Oh,
bad.
poor
Calm
you.
down.
The only one that matters, really.
Le Mans going to be pretty decent then, isn't
Yeah.
it? For
Both Le Mans are going
exposure.
to be pretty decent.
Okay, let's not
Oh, yeah,
talk
there's
about
2 Le Mans.
WEC, otherwise we will be here forever.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this podcast. Remember, if you want to win the signed Haas F1 cap, then all you have to do is like the video, subscribe if you're new, and also rate the ratio of how much you blame either Ricciardo or Verstappen. That was much better at explaining that time.
Well done.
Thank you very much for watching. Well done,
Well done,
Baku.
Baku.
Well
Baku.
done, Baku.
Fantastic race, and we'll see you for Spain in 2 weeks' time.
Yes.
Smashed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Bye.